doing this week? A unique rocket stove for the Muse-Art studio. Let's check in on what Dad and Shay have in mind.
The next rocket stove on our list is going into the studio, so we want it to be a little artsy considering that's gonna be like the home of art. We really wanna do either a dragon or a lizard. This one that we're sitting on really turned out well, but we wanted to keep improving it and making it better, so we tried new things, different things with Garen's. I think Garen's works pretty well.
I love that it's sunk into the floor. That way I have a lot of extra room. I don't have to worry about that big bench in this small of an area. It burns great, it heats great, uses hardly any wood. It is a little low to the ground. It's not always easy to get down there and stoke it and start it. It starts nice, it's just you gotta, you know, bend down real far. So I do wish that it was a little higher. Other than that though, it works really, really good.
It's got a couple issues, so we made it even better for Bryson's. And I would say Bryson's works the best so far, and it looks really good.
I've been really satisfied with this rocket stove. It's worked really well. I mean, the only thing I would suggest is to add an air intake from the outside, because just taking the air inside and recycling it isn't really that effective, because you start pulling air throughout little creases in your house, underneath your door and stuff like that, and you start pulling the cold air in and pushing out your hot air. I'm looking forward to using it this winter when I get to really use it. You know, when it's actually snowing outside. I mean, like the one time we get snow, maybe. If we get snow. We sometimes don't get snow. And usually it's just one day. Yeah.
I like my little potbelly stove, but it eats up a great deal of wood. So I'm gonna wait until they get the rocket stove like perfect. And then we're gonna get one in here that works awesome.
But on this one, we've got totally new ideas, and we think that it's gonna turn out really, really well.
This is the open flame area. This is the barrel that the rocket stove normally works from. Where we feed in, we'll be in through the mouth, so it'll look like a dragon and fire and so on. And then on a wall that's about 18 inches thick or more, behind this, heat storage will be on the wall as opposed to inside the bench. We're going to run the pipe from the rocket stove down here where the firebox is. Inside the wall, the stovepipe will come up in zigzags and then out the back, and we'll store all the heat in the wall. The tail will go up on the wall, and it'll kind of go this way up into the top so that we can actually decorate the wall that's gonna store the heat.
Yeah, I'll probably be the one to paint it. I'll probably help with design. I'm definitely gonna hug the wall afterwards.
The weight of the stove does require that there's more support, and I didn't want to build up the wood floor to support the wood stove. And we have a little corner of ground that's inside. It's just big enough for this to fit. What's nice is that the stairs ends in one area and the bottom circle ends in one area, and the outside circle, it leaves us a little patch of ground to actually set the stove on. We're going to be putting the rocket stove right in between these two windows. And it's going to require us to be about 5 foot to the center. We need another foot for the piping that'll be going out. It actually will come out about 3.5 feet, which is right about to here. So we chose a spot that's right in between the windows. It's about 10 feet in between there. We're putting in a block foundation here so that we can set the rocket stove up in the air just a little bit. This particular one has to have a wood floor that'll come up to it. We'll have to prepare for that. And what's nice too is that when you open the double doors to go into the studio, there's going to be kind of that rocket stove idea right there. So the first thing you see when you open up will be art.
So it better be pretty.
It'll be nice. It'll be fun.
When we were laying the foundation, I helped move those very heavy bricks.
White ones. Why are the white ones heavier?
I feel like I had an easier time carrying them than you did with all the groaning and griping you did.
Well, they're heavy and you're stronger than I am.
Pure muscles.
Yeah, pure muscles.
Balance them. Balance 3 bricks, 1 pinky.
Thank you.
Oh.
Okay. We struggled finding fire brick in the area, you know, drive a long ways away. We did find it in a box store, so we managed to pick that up. $1.25. Yeah, I thought they'd be a couple bucks, $2, $3 a piece.
Yeah, good price.
To get started, the guys lay out the placement for the firebox.
No, this is not the firebox we're setting. This is just the plan for when we get it up in the air. At the beginning of the project, we laid the firebox out on the ground first and then was able to determine where the pedestal would set it.
And tamped all of the dirt underneath so that we had it nice and stable. We wet it down and we tamped it so we don't have to do a foundation like a cement foundation. And then we went ahead and laid the brick right on top of the tamped dirt.
Our pedestal, the foundation thing, we're building that up to about here. We'll have fire brick to this point across here.
Now that I have to work, it appears that I've lost all strength in my arms. Noodles.
Okay. And then cemented it up all the way up.
Sitting on your feet. Sitting on your feet.
Why? Because it's level. But I tamped this one and let it. Bingo!
Well, I will say one thing. It ain't pretty, but it's gonna do the work.
The foundation for the rocket stove is this pedestal. And we'll be setting our fire brick on top of that and building.
Your firebox is at this distance, and your pipe comes out the side, right?
So the firebox is looking similar to what Bryson had. We needed room enough in the front of the firebox to be able to kind of create the mouth of our character, our dragon character.
Gary's always been creative, and I think he's really looking forward. I think you're really looking forward to this build. His creativity just kind of rubs off on all of us.
Bryson has a ton of creativity, but he shows it through his science part of things. He loves the rocket stove idea, concept, is anxious to see how well this one works compared to others that we've done. It's exciting to see him be so scientific about the whole thing.
Hello, camera.
Shay really enjoys the art part of it, so I think when we get past this, the build and into the artsing, the sculpting and the painting, and I think she's really gonna find herself getting engrossed in it.
You want to get another one of these? The concept behind the firebox is to be able to create an area where heat is contained. So we contain it inside fire brick. Well then, that'll radiate to the outside area, which is cob, which will also retain heat. Essentially, the firebox is for containing a fire.
If you were to use like normal brick instead of fire brick, it would crack because fire brick can withstand higher temperatures. So it works good to build a nice firebox out of it.
So we're using a 6-inch opening, a 6-inch exhaust that'll go into the chamber and then be able to exit out.
Pipe goes right here.
We're also too, and this is kind of a cool little thing we're doing, is that we're going to be putting in an air chamber that's going to draw in air from the outside as opposed to drawing air from the inside, warm air.
Before we begin covering the rocket stove with cob, the air inlet needs to be considered.
That's going to be the mechanism that opens a flap inside the pipe so that I can regulate the air coming into this inlet and outside air coming in. What's important is that this turn handle thing doesn't get too far in to our sculpture.
Dad and I have to figure out how the dragon sculpture will be formed before he puts in the air intake
have
pipe.
it like crouched and then its tail come up.
So we're continuing to experiment with the rocket stoves, and so this one we're experimenting with the air vent.
Air will be coming from the outside. When we need welding work, we go to Garen. And what we've designed here is a flapper that we'll be able to put in here that'll flap, open and close, so we can control the airflow from outside. Okay, Garen, So
Open, closed. I can flip it and I can make it stop.
we're gonna move our hole over.
It's gonna be nice. We're gonna be able to test the whole thing before we do any of the artwork.
Here, the shoulders are here, right? Based on what Shay and I decide where it's gonna fit on. I install the intake pipe. I'm gonna cement this little feller in, get it positioned right so that we can have this air intake. So we have it off, on, and partially on. But we want to be able to shut it off just in case it doesn't work. Well, no, we have to regulate the air. We'll have it wide open when the fire's burning the hottest. That way it's pulling as much from the outside as we can.
This thing looks like a jet engine. When the ashes fall down, Dad wants to have a clean out right here, because it's gonna be kind of this is gonna be like the last corner before it goes out. So it's gonna be a place where ashes is probably gonna collect, if there are any ashes.
Yeah. So there's only two places. One's the firebox, which we can get to this way, and the other place is right here.
Let's go over to the poop barn and cut that one piece and bring it over.
Let's do it.
So now it's time to build the combustion chambers, and so we found some old parts off an older one that we built a while back. It's one of our first ones that we did, and we're just gonna take the top off of that one and put it on this one.
We're taking a look at this old one that we did, the very first one we ever did. And I love the outside of it. This old rocket stove is made from an old hot water tank. So cut this off so that we can get our outtake, and then just leave the top like it is, and use that as our top of our combustion chamber.
And this one is.
And then this one's already made. All we have to do is drop it down an inch, and that'll be our combustion chamber on the inside. This is a linseed oil can, like this one over here. The old linseed oil can, and it has a 6-inch pipe in the middle. The
Cob around the
continuation of
outside.
yeah. Let's modify this right now.
Okay. So we get this cut right so that we can get make sure the barrel's gonna fit. You need this thing to be a foot, and that's because this is a 6-inch pipe. It's the 3-to-1 ratio. So from the bottom of this up here needs to be 18. So that actually looks really pretty. Gorgeous. It does because of muscle, but
It's good to me.
let's see where we're at here. Okay. I'm happy with that.
We have to have 2 inches clearance.
Oh, if we measure from right here, Dad, down, that'll give us plenty of room. I believe it's a little more.
Garen stops by to show us his Thor helmet he's been working on for Comic-Con.
It's really cool.
It is cool.
Before the combustion chamber is cemented in, the guys need to install the smoke exhaust pipe.
That's gonna be pretty tough to get in there, huh, Dad?
It's gonna be tough to get it down. The exhaust pretty much is just heat, steam, and a little bit of smoke. Everything else combusts in here and burns. Ash and creosote that builds up typically in a regular fireplace flue is really non-existent here. You don't get that amount because it's all reburnt in the combustion chamber.
The main heat is right here, honestly. And this is, our combustion chamber is all steel. So everything after this is pretty much, it's not hot enough to really do anything. And it's cheaper, so bonus.
We're at the point now where we'd like to go ahead and set the combustion chamber up here. So we're kind of excited. It's the first part of the actual plumbing of this thing. We're adding in some additional foundation pieces here so that we can support this wall of cob that'll be going up here. To get it up near the height where we need to start doing the cobbing. Ask you about the clean out. Shay, do you want something that looks like that? Because we'll be mudding around this.
Yeah.
And we need this accessible so we can pull this cap off.
Yeah, I think that looks fine.
Okay. It'll go up and out, but I just need a fairly sharp turn so that I can get...
Where do you need it to
just bend
end up?
We need to go out up there. But eventually this is going to go this way, goes out there, and zigzags this way, and then up. That's the plan.
Okay.
We ran out of corners, so I guess we're done for the day.
We have a vent right here that's supposed to vent the subfloor that's underneath the floor that we're going to be putting here. And since we have dirt down here, it's nice to have a little bit of airflow in the subfloor to the outside. So that's what the height of the steps is the top of the floor is going to be put in here. And you can see there's a difference there, oh, I don't know, 18 inches there, maybe a little less. The floor is going to set at that height. It's going to be right about here. So the floor will be setting at this point. So that continues all the way around the building. Yeah, and the vent needs to be below the grade of the floor. So that's how the vent ties in. We're not professionals with rocket stoves installing and all that. You know, we're just like everybody else. You know, none of us has a degree at the university in rocket stove technology, but we just learn as we go. Our corners now, so we can finish her up.
8-inch for a 6-inch pipe.
Bigger. These are 7. Get up. We had just gotten back from the store. We got the wrong elbows.
If it fits on your head, it's too big. If you have the right sized pipe, it will be too small.
The wrong size. It does not fit.
Okay, Shay. Hand me nail, hammer.
The big one or the small one?
The one that I can use.
He wants the big one. And I can only hope that I am taping on the right seams.
We can test it now, so let's do that.
I think Dad's a little excited to test it.
Pretty warm though. Yeah, it's too hot to the touch.
Are we getting any rocket sounds?
The heat's leading off the combustion chamber. By the time it gets to the very top, we've captured most of the heat out of that wall, and then we'll be exiting very little heat, just a little steam, a little bit of smoke. An easy way to load it too from the front, and we'll just keep testing it. Here's the intake pipe. We're going to do a quick test to see about the inflow. A little piece of the Super Adobe bags. Yeah, sucks it right in. So far so good.
Rocket stoves are not like a traditional fireplace. It just burns a small amount of wood. I mean, we just use little chunks that we've been using from building the earth bag bedrooms. There's a lot of heat right in this area, but right up here on the stove, I mean, that's like a dryer vent. So all the heat is going into the bench itself. I guess it burns slowly, but it just retains the heat.
It's time to stretch the air intake pipe to reach outside.
Right now I'm driving a pilot hole, so we know how to cut through here and put the rest of the intake piping in.
You're out.
We'll just make quick work of this. Power tool.
Never thought of that.
Where do I have the other side?
You know, this is 5-inch.
Yeah, this will fit. Let's take it out and let's put it together. This is my friend Marvin. He's helping us get the piping done today. Just like that.
Oh, jeez. That's perfect.
Good. Run it off.
So what's in there?
Who's a mouse?
We've had the rocket stove for several years, and we don't really burn it a great deal. Just during the really colder winter days. All right, let's see what kind of dust we're looking at. Oh, look at that. A schmittering of dust.
Let me go in there and look.
There were spider webs there, which is surprising because spider webs melt.
Wow.
Hardly nothing, huh?
It tells us how cool those pipes actually run.
So it was good to be able to see that most of the heat that's been coming off of the chamber is really what's radiating into the room. And then the other heat that's coming out of the flue is really being stored in the bench. And there's not a great deal of bench in the bench, just enough to keep it, nice and warm to set on with a little cushion.
Very heat efficient.
Mm-hmm. I really wanted to bring the shop back inside, but Shelly wouldn't let that happen because those things really spread out quite a bit of dust. Fortunately, we had a window close by, and I could put the shop back in the window, and so we didn't have to work it.
This is our big cob pile, or clay pile.
Yep.
Are we ready?
I think so. Pick some weed. So we're just gonna build it up through the course of a few days. Let it dry, build it up, type of deal. Lay it down. Got to the mental level that I wanted to be at.
Okay.
That'll all be taken care of when we get this built up.
I stick a little hole in each one of the rounds so that the next stack of cob that goes on our dryer section plugs in like Legos, like building blocks.
So we can only move about a foot of cob at a time, only due to the fact that if you stack too much, you'll start to sag and squish down. So you can only do about a foot a day.
We're gonna cob the whole wall all the way to the ceiling.
That flange piece is perfectly waterproof now, and then this just caps right over the top of that.
Great.
And we'll just... I need to make some adjustments to our flange piece, and we'll be able to get that up on the roof. Fold down, and it's gonna fall over the top of it. This is where the fold is gonna go. This is the top, that's the pitch of the roof.
Pretty tough stuff.
We've left our 2 inches to make sure we have plenty of clearance, and now we're using some wet patch to seal our flange piece on top.
Squishy.
Squish it on down. All right, looking great. This is coming out good.
It's because it looks bad, Dad's responsible for it. No.
I think it's beautiful.
Okay, go down about a foot. Keep coming. Hey, come on down. One way that we want to let our cob dry faster is I want to go ahead and put some plastic over our windows and cover our entrance, and then fire up the stove. Your concern is that it's just too much cob.
The whole wall is a bit much. If you look at the bench that we already have, the heat only goes onto the top of it anyway. No matter how hot you get it, the sides and the back of that never heat up. That heat never expands to that, it only expands up a bit. So we just need to figure out where that heat stops expanding and then put that, make that amount.
That's helpful, because if we put like here, if we know heat goes up, we can go thicker up here.
We decided to change the layout of the piping because, well, we really didn't want to cob the whole wall.
More parts.
Making the piping a little lower, and that'll also help kind of keep the heat lower to the ground because heat rises. So I'm hoping that'll help the room stay warm.
Still so wet. It's almost like the day we put it on. Let's turn a fire, right? I think I'm happier, yeah. Keeps most of the heat down a little lower.
It's time to cob Mount Dragon. That's a lot to do. So here goes.
Okay, we got a suggestion, which I think was a really good suggestion. Instead of putting the grate down here, which is what we were planning, we're going to go ahead and put the grate up here. And then that way we can do a tube, a pipe down here, and cob it in so that the heat can also radiate into the tube and then send that heat down into the basement.
But we need to probably put this grate on first before I put this on here, and then you can cob around the grate. So do we have a grate around here? This to the block, just temporary enough to get the block in place. That's the air vent right there. It'll draw in air through here and in. That should do it. What I want to do.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Woo!
It wasn't easy, but I like this much better
Yeah, it looks good.
than just a vent area.
Yeah. Look at that masterpiece. I got my panda pajamas dirty.
The rocket stove works really well. It warms my room all the time. Very nice. One thing that I think we should do is add a little more cob to it to make it a little more mass, because I realize that I lose a lot of the heat out the chimney. The bottom part isn't really even getting hot that much. Just some more cob up here will eventually going to burn out, and we're going to eventually have to replace that with something thicker there. You could cob up the pipe too, that would be phenomenal. Somehow attach it to the wall so the wall can obtain some of the heat would be nice too. It probably takes, I would say, an hour to heat everything up. Once you get these buildings warm, they like stay warm for about 24 hours. Distance between the top of the barrel and the riser is about 2 inches. If you picture like that much gas basically, or that much heat coming out of a pipe like that, needs to be able to escape down the sides of it. So 1 inch to 1.5 inches to 2 inches actually would be nice. And having enough pipe with enough cob to store that mass is good. Discovered is kind of, this one has about 15 feet of exhaust pipe on this one here. We used about 20 on Garen's, and Garen seems to be the kind of the right size for overall length of pipe. Most of the cleaning is right underneath the burn chamber, which is right where your fire goes. I just take the shovel, just scoop it in there, and just... This thing, I'll probably look at like once a year or whatever, and there'll probably be a little bit of ash in there. Okay, so the bench will keep your coffee warm, and the top of the burn chamber will cook your bacon, as long as you do a small fire. Unless you want really charred bacon, which is good too.
Yay, Bryson's back.
Yay!
My oh so lovely brother is back.
I've played and now I'm gonna start working.
I'm forming a foot, hopefully. We'll see how it looks. For the dragon head, we need something a little stronger to kind of support our cob as we're building up on the horns and the face and such. So Dad came up with this idea to do kind of a wire frame of it so that we could attach our cob, maybe foam. So he's working hard on that to make that happen. And then once that's done, we can start with the cob.
The styles of heads and stuff that we want to hopefully put on.
Down there looks better.
Well, the problem with down is that I need room to get wood in and out, and I don't want to be banging on that.
Oh yeah.
Shay, look at these horns. They look small. I think we ought to maybe use that as a small horn out here,
Yeah, maybe.
and have the bigger horn.
Oh, that looks kind of cool. See, the jaw's there, so somewhere like here, and
Yeah.
then do your sockets.
Yeah.
I would not like
Hold
that,
it
like
back,
that,
yeah.
like that. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm thinking. With that, with a little bill on it.
Yeah, eyebrow.
Man.
Eyebrow and eye socket, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Cut the head.
And Dad's coming in with the dragon head. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still gonna run rods through here and here.
I think they're really good, Dad. We'll probably fill the horns and stuff with foam so that it has a stiffness to it. We
And
can
it
work with.
glues the rods in too.
Are you thinking like spray foam?
Yeah, just the like the insulation foam. That's really sticky stuff, lightweight. I have plenty of cob on it so it won't overheat and melt or anything like that. So.
I've never done this job.
What are you doing, Shay?
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh!
Ooh, gosh. Okay.
And it's gonna work for us
So you're gonna
now.
just fill that with foam?
I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my very airy best. Look away. That's not important. No, I made a boo-boo. More like 6. I made 6 boo-boos.
I think this is gonna all drip out the bottom and make a huge mess.
But it's
We're gonna just
okay.
take a,
We'll laugh about
our
it.
plan is to take a razor blade and just,
Slice it up once it's done.
exactly.
Wow, it's like it looks like Bozo the Clown.
Cover this with something else. This is not the finished product.
What are we gonna do about these holes?
We're gonna
Cob.
refill it.
Oh, okay.
It was really sturdy, actually. More than I thought it would.
Nothing that a little foam and wire can't handle. I think it looks like an old frog. Alright, Bryson, so what do you think it looks like?
No, looks like a dragon, I guess.
It looks like a dragon? I really do think it looks like a frog. Like an Einstein frog or something. It looks like a dragon. Are you guys just dragging this out or what? Feeling funny at the moment, that was
Feeling funny, my friend.
Have time, Dad. We're done now.
Great timing there, darling.
We're gonna have to Maui.
Using the form, Shay can now begin the dragon sculpting.
You're cobbing in the,
The cornucopia.
okay.
Well, Dad, is it looking like you imagined it would?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, that looks cool. That looks so cool.
Putting a wire in here and in here.
There's been a little concern about using the insulation foam, so Shay and Bryson are gonna do some safety tests. It's always best to have the 2 youngest in the family do that.
Do you want to try a smaller piece?
Nah.
Huh.
Guess it's not.
If anyone asks, what's your idea?
Yeah, the smell definitely cannot be. So we've confirmed that it does actually ignite, but the flame has to be constant, otherwise it will just burn out. So the fumes are definitely, would not be that good to breathe in.
Smells good.
Shay,
What?
you can't be sniffing that. That is so dangerous.
What I just did? Smells good.
It's not that bad.
No,
I mean,
doesn't smell. Oh, it does reek.
So what are you doing here, Shay?
Don't you like that with the ridges?
I do. And that's our sheetrock mud, huh?
Yes.
Looks good.
We're currently kind of deciding on what to sculpt and build on the basic structure that we have going.
I'm ready for next batch, my darling who couldn't find anything.
We have a solution
top.
already, Bri. You're still making fun of me?
Yes, I am. Oh, I thought I dropped a piece of cop on Dad's head, but it's a scab.
Hello, scamp.
That was the can I dropped on his head.
Oh no. Oh.
There's Funny and then there's Shay. Are just sculpting up the dragon face right now.
Doing the legs that are going to be in the front, and they're going to be done like a reverse type of leg that you see on iguanas and lizards and so on. Kneecaps will be right about in this area. Leg will come back and come down, and then there'll be a foot that'll come out from there with claws.
Did you see this little foot, Shay? Look how cute it is.
Yes. It's adorable. I am making art.
I know, but what is it?
One of the main things you're not supposed to do to an artist.
Oh, that's so
What is it?
We believe in you.
There's 3 on one side, 4 on the other.
Uh-oh.
What? I'm just stating obvious.
Are you carving another toe, Gary?
Yes, I need another toe. Poor dragon only had 3 toes.
Notice there's 2 kind of empty spaces on the rocket stove. You have kind of the dragon, and then it almost comes up like with 2 ledges where they're pretty blank. There's really nothing on them. So I was thinking maybe we could put like some little baby dragons on those or something like that.
Does that make our dragon a female dragon now?
I guess.
It could be a dad.
Angry Papa.
So I'm gonna try and build up a little something here.
Am I gonna have like long
Guarding
eyelashes?
dad.
A little clump.
Curly eyelashes.
It could protective puppy.
Yeah, let's not leave the guys out in this.
It's an it.
The tail, and I'm about to put the head on because that's important. Ever so slightly. Not so much that you'd notice.
Scales like this here. I'm not sure how scales are done, but
Ooh, I like it. You know, I've been really liking what she's been doing.
Yeah.
The person you're
I wanted
supposed to
see
be
if we could see
filming.
through. Oh yeah, we can see through the hole.
then we have some things that we want to work on, not just the dragon itself, but what's going to happen around the dragon.
Dad has this great idea to do like these little sphere rocky type things all around the little dragon guy. So says it's simple, there's no sculpting involved. It's just making little round sphere things and putting them up there. We have some issues though because we have to kind of attach them to the rest of it because I'm coming back off, and they took some plunges there a few times and we had to rebuild.
Bree's fixing my mess.
No problem. I like the look of it as it's coming out here. It's looking good, Dad. Good call on that.
When we were first looking at building earth bag structures, I remember a guy did a structure, and on the inside of the structure he had a complete wall made of balls that were softball size, and he had done a complete wall
that would look
and
really cool.
it was just a textured wall. There was no design to it other than that, so it was really cool.
It's kind of fun. What I love is it like really defines the shape of the clay. So like you can see the nice the curvature of the earth. I like that. It's really cool.
We've got a mouth to get started on, and with that we've got some teeth to put in, some lips and stuff. Nose has to have some nostrils.
So Steve came over for the day, and while we were working on the wing, I was not being as gentle as I needed to be, and it hadn't had time to dry.
Go away.
The whole thing fell off.
Oh no.
He lost it during the great battle. That's all that happened.
Why did that one stay so nicely? Maybe I should have waited till it was drier.
Maybe.
And I had to rebuild it again, and then that fell off. So I'm redesigning it a little bit to take a different shape.
Dad had come up with this concept of getting it wet using a paintbrush, and he was noticing that it what happens a lot of times when you pour water over the top of clay is it takes off all the silt, and so it makes it look really ugly. But we were noticing with the paintbrush, when we stroke it on there with some water, it really keeps the silt there. So go over the entire thing to kind of smooth out the bumps, and so we're doing that.
Coming up with a design on the feet and leg would be maybe some armor type things.
I'm excited to see how they come out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were actually going to do like teeth and lips and everything I just thought it was just going to be just the top like that. I didn't think it was going to have a jaw and everything. So I come walking in and whoa, it's got a mouth. So I love that. It really does make it look, when there's fire in there, I'm picturing it. It's cool.
Oh, today I ordered the eyes too.
Oh, it's going to be so cool to have those in there as well.
Yeah.
Really bring some life to that dragon. It's time for the finish finishing touches. We order some dragon eyes online.
We're gonna dry fit this to see how it fits. Let's get our new eyeballs. Cool. Oh yeah.
Our grandma has been doing a lot of chalk work, so it gives us an idea.
We wanted to first go with this chalk idea.
So we ended up getting like a ton of, what are those, construction chalks?
Yeah, in the old days you had the choice of red and blue, but when we went to the store they had purple and orange and black.
Red, blue.
We had some sidewalk chalks, and we also bought some paintbrushes. And
Just anything we think we would need for
Yep.
the painting of the chalk.
yeah, the two colors. So I want to take these out and test them out on the walls. So let's go do that. To not really actually test on the stove itself, we had some cobbed areas in the back, so we just went back there and began testing. Just dry, wet.
Anything
What's it look
really.
like with linseed oil?
What about we linseed it, chalk it, and then linseed again?
Yeah, look at that. See that?
Yeah,
Nice,
that's
that paints
nice.
up nice.
That's nice.
And if it stays that color with the oil, that'll look really cool. Because that's a really nice blue. Perfect.
So the first thing we need to do is linseed 3 coats.
Some linseed, first coat. It's gonna soak up the most.
All right, Dad, what you doing?
Putting the eyeballs in.
He's been needing eyeballs. He has a mouth, he has a nose, he's horns. That's been one thing that's been missing. Cool. Oh yeah.
Diesel liked to lick the linseed oil.
This time we could actually get him out of the building and keep him from doing that. He's teaching Max to lick the walls now. Bacon grease. It's not even linseed oil, it's just bacon grease.
Little dot right there. When I push it, what happens?
This is a sneak peek onto the color that we're using.
Don't.
Okay, so that's first layer on.
It looks so cool.
When we were doing the sculpting, it kind of turned out the same way too, where Dad would end up working on the main dragon and then I worked on the 2 side dragons. So when we were painting, we kind of did the same type of thing.
She has a lot thicker mixture than Dad.
I actually had to go in and grab my iPad and take a look at the original plan. It was all blues and some highlights and so on. And I looked at that and it just didn't seem very practical.
This one that's the color I used on the underside of the other wing. I'm switching it up, Mom.
You are.
I got my heart there running away. Hey, Mr. Bride. Wow, Dad, it's coming along.
When I first started putting the chalk on, it dries so pastel, not really dark enough.
Almost like white in some areas. It was so light. So we were thinking, okay, it's perfect now. When we put the linseed oil, it'll darken it up, it'll kind of antique it, and it'll look really good.
So get a little bit of color at least to come through. And see if any of this color comes back, and hopefully when it comes back, it'll be nice and dark. We ended up taking those eyes out. We'll have to put them back in.
But we found after we'd linseed oiled it, you couldn't see it at all.
All the color was gone.
The red that we used, however, just made it look even more burnt and you could see it.
It was really cool. Later we came back and kind of reassessed it.
So the chalk did not work as we expected. So we've moved on to kind of a oil paints and we're gonna see if that works.
Shelly went scrounging around in the hoop barn and found a whole basket full thing of paints.
Oil paints.
Yeah, oils.
Just started to redo it. We actually picked different colors this time too.
Yep.
You can use spray paint as a something for brushwork as well.
But I don't recommend it because that's my kitchen dish.
That was your kitchen dish.
I still went with green like I wanted. And that looked great, and kind of a silvery for the knee armor and shin
I
armor.
went blues.
And she went blues. We have a lighter blue and a darker blue.
Lots of blues.
One has polka dots and the other one has what, stripes?
The same. No, it's got polka dots. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
one and then.
So is it like the zebra? Is it a white zebra with black stripes or a black zebra with white stripes?
There's one of each.
So, Mom,
Yeah?
what's your task?
I just have a little bit of a brown paint to touch up when they flick. Not that they ever make mistakes, I don't mean that, but
So you're just using a simple brown to just...
yeah, I got some brown.
That's hilarious. What you working on, Dad?
Highlights.
Wow, Shay.
I'm excited to see what it's gonna look like after we linseed it, and make sure that it doesn't fade to black.
Just to kind of lay it on the paints themselves, the horns and this lower section here where this kind of this red rock is all chalk paint. And then we've gone to the direction of now having oil-based paints through the body, the face, and the knees, and down to the feet. And then on the rocks, the pebble of the rocks, or the round ball rocks, they just have kind of a touch of chalk on them. And everything else is, oh, and then up here, we also have more, we covered this with the oil paints.
And then here we also did a little bit more on the tail for the dragon. We got some green oil paint there. And Shelly came along and antiqued the little dragons.
Make it look a little more blended into the stove.
I think it looks pretty good right now. I mean, I'm very happy with the way it turned out.
I think we're good now. We
Let's burn some wood in it.
start the fire.
Of course, now it's going to be, tomorrow's going to be
Fire.
70, so it's like...
Our family moved from the city to the country. Thanks for taking part in our adventure. We have new videos every Friday evening. If you would like to help us out, you can like this video, share it, subscribe, or support us on Patreon. See the links in the description. Please consider supporting us on Patreon.